Despite all the narratives surrounding the state, it appears that Donald Trump's on pace for a big victory in Texas. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election because everyone, it appears that Donald Trump has taken a big lead over Biden in the state of Texas. Yes, the one state that every Democrat has promised would finally flip in 2024. And after saying the same thing back in 2020, and hell, even back in 2016, Democrats were saying that Texas would finally flip towards the Democrat Party. Well, it appears that by every metric, that's not happening. In fact, Donald Trump could be winning Texas by the largest he has ever won it by. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, let us get right into it, because this is a state that, by all accounts, was trending Democrat. And I say was, because from 2012 to 2016 to 2020, there has been a consistent trend towards the left. And we go back to 2012, and Romney won the state by around 16 points. You know, that's pretty impressive, considering Trump won it by only 9 points back in 2016. In 2020, he won it by just under 5.5 points. And everyone thought, all right, by basic math, 2024 should be the year Republicans finally lose in the state of Texas. I mean, they've been winning the state for like 40, 50 years. That's how long it's been since a Democrat has won. I think it's Jimmy Carter. And everyone thought 2024 was finally the year. And on paper, this made plenty of sense. You're talking about what? A 10-point shift since 2012? That's why everyone was saying, well, it's over. Even if Republicans won in 2024, they're going to lose it in 2028 and it's become a safe Democrat state down the line. That's what everyone's been saying for years. But look at the polling. And I understand that the polling is not everything. I understand that, but Trump's up by 8.8%. The same margin he won the state back in 2016. This basically the same. It was actually 0.2 points less. So wait a minute. Texas has been shifting Democrat. What's going on here? And people might say, well, the polling could be incorrect. Yeah. But these same polls back in 2020 had Trump barely winning Texas by a point. He won it by just under 6 points. So if the polling is wrong like it was back in 2020, Trump would win the state by just under 13 points. More than John McCain did in 2008, just slightly less than Mitt Romney won it by in 2012, and by far his best performance in the state of Texas. Way more than 2016 and a lot more than 2020. But how is this happening? Because everyone promised, well, Texas is shifting Democrat. The demographics suck for Republicans here. There is no way Trump can win it in 2024. Even if he somehow did, it was going to be a Democrat state by 2028, 2032. Well, there were signs back in 2020 that, hey, some of these trends in Texas, they may not be enough to flip the state. Remember, from 2016 to 2020, the state shifted what? 3 points Democrat? Hell, Trump's vote share barely changed. He got 52% back in 2016, and in 2020, he got 52%. So there were signs even back in 2020 that maybe this blue Texas stuff may not be happening. But on top of that, the country shifted like 2 points Democrat from 2016. Yet Trump only did 3 points worse in Texas. So that means the state only trended 1 point Democrat. 1 from 2016. That's not a big enough shift to make it seem like it's a Democrat state. But you can look at some of the county results in the state of Texas, and you notice something very apparent. Obviously, what happened in southern Texas, but look at some of the metro areas, in particular Dallas and Austin. There was a big shift to the left in both those metros, and that's what caused the big shift towards Democrats in the state. But there was one metro that didn't really trend either direction. In fact, compared to the rest of the country and even the state of Texas, it trended Republican. Houston. Look at Harris County, the largest county in the state of Texas. It swung 1 point Democrat. Compare that with Dallas, which only swung 6 points Democrat. Austin, which swung 6.5 points. Hell, San Antonio swung only 5 points Democrat. Harris only 1. And even counties around it did not shift as much compared to, say, Tarrant, Denton, Collin, Williamson, Hayes, etc. So even back in 2020, outside of what happened in southern Texas, there were signs in Houston that it appears that Democrats have hit some kind of ceiling in the area. But when talking about 2020 results in Texas, there's one part of the state that sticks out like a sore thumb. Southern Texas. Listen, to this day, I am still baffled at what happened here. But Trump did something no Republican has done in generations. I mean, look at these results here. 38-point swing, 39, 55, 23, etc. I understand that some of these counties are pretty small. I mean, look at Zapatow. There's like 4,000 or 5,000 votes here at most. Yeah, that's not a lot of people, but when you have swings of this magnitude in every single one of these counties, and there's a couple that have some people in it, like Hidalgo, like Cameron. There are people that live down here. Hell, even El Paso let us swing to the right. So there was a consistent trend across this entire region. I mean, you don't do 7.5 points better in El Paso, 55 points better in Star, and it just being a fluke. I mean, if you really think that, you might be coping about this entire thing. But why is this significant? Because, well, yeah, these are huge swings, but there's not a lot of people here compared to Dallas, Houston, Austin, hell, even San Antonio. Well, the thing with this region is, of course, demographics. This part of the state, everyone knows it, has a lot of Hispanics. And we saw precinct data in Harris, Dallas, hell, even parts of Austin, where Hispanic voters had a huge shift to the right in Texas. Across the state. Not just in southern Texas, but parts of Dallas, parts of Houston, etc. But it was mostly seen in southern Texas. But why is this important? I mean, I've been going on and on about, well, Dallas swung left, Houston swung kind of nowhere, Austin went way more Democrat, but the southern part went Republican. Why does this matter? Well, like I've said, this area is super Hispanic. And you know what the fastest growing population in Texas is? Hispanics. But if you thought that wasn't bad enough for Democrats, like, all right, the fastest growing group is becoming more Republican, especially with Trump on the ballot. That's going to be a problem for us down the line. If you thought that was bad enough, well, the gains they've made in places like Denton, Collin, Harris, Fort Bend, there's a good shot that Democrats really have hit their ceiling. And I talked a little bit about Houston, like, hey, the trends in 2020 were actually pretty decent for Republicans in the area. But look at 2022. And I understand that this is a governor's race. Completely different circumstance to the presidential race. I understand that. But Beto O'Rourke was the Democrat recruit. He was the greatest recruit they've ever had, supposedly. But either way, Beto got walloped. I mean, he lost by 11 points, and I understand that Democrats did better compared to 2018, but like I said, Beto was their top recruit. He was the one that's going to save Texas for Democrats. Yeah, he still lost by 11 points. And Greg Abbott, yes, it's his worst performance, but back in 2018, he ran against a garbage Democrat. That's why he did so good then. But even then, he still won by 11 points. And you can look at some of these trends in, say, Dallas, Tarrant, Denton, Collin. Hell, a place like Fort Bend. It swung 6 points Republican. But you may notice one thing. These parts of the state didn't shift that Republican, right? Like, okay, only 4.5 points Republican, fine. It's not that good, though. Look at the eastern part of the state. Look at this. 14-point swing, 12, 10, 11, 10, etc. You know, this part of the state was already pretty Republican. Even parts of the Panhandle, same deal. Greg Abbott absolutely ran it up in the rural parts of the state. And that's what caused him to win by 11 points. His swings in Dallas wasn't enough. His swings in Houston, no. He found a way to somehow do way better than Trump in the Panhandle, the eastern part of the state. These areas have been deep red for years, but he found a way to make them even more Republican. And that should be the biggest concern for Democrats, because that's proof that these areas are not maxed out for Republican, and they're already pretty Republican. If you're telling me you could do 15 points better in a place like Shelby County, or 10 points better in Harrison, and again, these areas don't have the most people in it, but when you just have consistent swings, just ignoring Southern Texas for a second, Democrats mathematically would have very low chances of winning Texas if these parts of the state continue getting more Republican. And that's not even talking about what happens if Harris County stagnates for Democrats. What happens if the same thing happens in Tarrant and Dallas? There are so many problems for Democrats, and we're seeing in the polling. Trump's already above 50%. He's up by 8.8%, the best he's done in years in the state. There are signs that, hey, Democrats' hopes and dreams of winning Texas, mathematically speaking, very unlikely. You needed everything to go right. One, you needed to run it up in Houston, Dallas, etc. Yes, Austin will become more Democrat because of all the Californians moving in, but it seems like, especially with Houston, signs of stagnation. Like, they might do better in Dallas, they probably will, but will it be enough to flip 600,000 votes? I don't think so. But number two, they couldn't outright collapse in Southern Texas, and that's what's happening. And you think that's just going to stop? Look at the primary. And I know primaries are different than the general, but look at this. Biden did horrific in this part of the state. 56%, 40%, 45%, 43%. It was awful. Hell, El Paso, he only got 84%, worse than his statewide margin. There were signs in the primary, which should be Biden's best performance, that he's not doing good here. He has some serious problems in this part of the state. And number three, Republicans might be doing better in the rest of the state, which I thought was impossible, but somehow Greg Abbott was able to do way better in a place like Shelby County. Yes, I understand the midterm and turnout was lower, but he did 11 points better here. In virtually every county, the same thing. These counties are already deep red, but somehow Greg Abbott found a way to do even better here. And if Trump can replicate that, like, let's assume that Biden right now is down 600,000 votes. That's how much he lost the state by in 2020. Well, not only would he have to gain 600,000 votes out of Harris, Austin, Dallas, and the metros, which that alone is very difficult, you have to assume he does way worse in the Rio Grande Valley and somehow does worse in the rest of the state. That's not just 600,000 votes, which already is very difficult. You're talking about closer to maybe 800, 900,000 votes. And that's why I'm really starting to wonder, how Republican will Texas be this cycle? I mean, the polling has it Trump plus 9. And I'm starting to think, mathematically speaking, yeah, Trump could win the state by almost 10 points. It could change, yes, but Either way, things are looking pretty good for Trump in the state. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.